Hello, all my viewers out there. I would like to talk to you about something you probably have seen around you, the neighborhood where you stay. You probably have seen this person or groups of person who are taking too much drink, using drugs a lot, and it's worrying you that they are going overboard. But they seem oblivious and they seem to be so happy. And when you look at it critically, part of their happiness is that it's a lifestyle they can afford. They have it, the money, the means. They are having a good time. And so there is no problem about that. And as I welcome you to Dr. BMS channel today, I would like to talk about this in the title of The High Class Alcoholic. So, who is a high class alcoholic? Before we talk about the high class alcoholic, we know alcoholic drinks in our country, around the world. They are fairly international, actually. And we have some we know to be high class. That means they are very expensive. They are associated with people who have means, people who are famous. And when you are seen taking them, then it's a mark of success. You've made it and you can enjoy your life. And you're familiar with some of these examples showing and others. And we have also other drinks which are not so high class. Actually, they are considered ordinary class or even low class. And you've seen some of them. Others are not here. But when you are seen taking this, some people may frown. Some people may say, okay, it's because of your lack of means, but you have to take your drink anyway. And so you're classified as a low class person. And with these drinks, then come the other association. If you are a person who takes the low class drinks, are you then a person who is imagined of or seen in this scenario, seated out there in the village, taking alcohol, changa, muratina, unlicensed drinks under unhygienic condition, and sometimes appearing like you're going crazy, you're losing it, and people, when they see these images, they frown and say, wow, that's not me. That must be some villager, some person living in the slum. Is that the high or the low class alcoholic? And then we have this other person who every weekend drives their sports car, Subaru, Range Rover, BMW, and they go to their local pub, enjoy themselves with their homies, and take those expensive drinks that we talked about, and they have a good time until they've had enough, or the bar closes, the Mtudo laws apply, or the COVID-19 rules kick in, and they are sent home by force, or sometimes even as arrested, and they have to pay bail or bribe their way out, and the following day they go out again because it's their lifestyle. And as I said, they can afford it. They are high class. And these are the people I would like to talk about today. So, who is a high class alcoholic or drug user? I'll classify it in a very, I'll define it in a very simple way so that you can understand and try to look at this definition and see if it mirrors you or someone you know. A high class alcoholic or drug user is that person who is using alcohol or drugs of addiction to a level that qualifies to be at the addiction, severe usage. But the important thing here is that these people are in denial. They do not accept that they are addicted. Precisely, and only because they associate the terminology, the connotation of addiction with poverty. And because they are not poor people, they can afford their drink, they go to a high class pub, they drive or ride an Uber. So they are not those changa drinkers, those Muratina drinkers, Konyagi drinkers in the villages and the slums. And so you can't say they are addicted, because if you tell them they are addicted, it's like you are insulting them. And these are the people I would like to talk to today and say this, that addiction is not about the drink, it's not about the substance, it's not about the socio-economic status of the person. It is about the level of usage, the regularity of usage, and how your body, mind, and soul is interacting with this drink or this drug of addiction that you are using. Remember in a previous video, Dr. BMS, he said that the journey of addiction starts with you trying out, experimenting, and getting the effects in your body, usually the good effects, and you repeat, and after a while it becomes a habit, and now your mind thinks about it all the time. You move to a second stage where the mind has been roped in, and you become a regular user, you take more risk to use, and the effects are starting to be seen even by your family, your neighbors, people around you. And if nothing is done, then you go to the last level where your soul is sucked in. It's like you believe in alcoholism, in drugs, it's your religion. And that is the lowest level you have sunk. You have become addicted. So, this journey of addiction can be traveled by anyone, rich or poor, living in a posh place or in a slum, drinking Hennessy or drinking Changa. It does not matter. If it's alcohol and it's not used in moderation, it will take you down the path of addiction, regardless of your status in society and your socioeconomic status. And so I would like to mention this risk that the so-called high class alcoholics run, that they run a higher risk compared to the low class alcoholic of adverse outcomes because of a global ignorant complacency. What do I mean by a global ignorant complacency? First, it starts with yourself, that you're using alcohol or your drug of recreation, which is an addictive drug, so we call it a drug of addiction as well. And you think because it is high class, it is expensive, and you have the means to do that habit over and over with rich friends in rich places, then you are immune to the effects because you are a rich person. Okay? So the ignorance starts with you, but it spreads to be global because even the people around you, your friends, are of the same mentality. Sometimes even your family, sometimes even the whole society is of the same mentality. That these people who are drinking in the five-star hotels and they eat nyama choma and they drive home and take a taxi, those ones cannot fall into a ditch like the janga drinker who falls into a ditch and then fall sick in the night because they are sleeping rough or they were bitten by mosquitoes. So this ignorance creates a complacency. People put their guard down. The person using the drugs of addiction, the alcohol, the family, the society, and as they put their guard down, the drug has a time to take its effect, to work itself on your body, on your mind, and finally on your soul. Like we say, the journey of addiction travels until the common end point where now the person who is a low class alcoholic and the person who is a high class alcoholic the end point becomes the same. They all suffer the deleterious effect of addiction, and if nothing is done, they end up in rehabilitation. No, if they end up in rehabilitation, something has been done. If nothing is done, they end up with the pitfalls, the worst which can be death. Or if something is done, the family intervenes or people around them, they end up in rehabilitation. And when they come in rehabilitation, sometimes in our center we receive these so-called high-class uh, alcoholics, and they protest that why are they being put together with people who are of low class, people whose clothes are not good, they look tattered, their families do not come visiting them, driving big cars. And we tell them, fine, you may be coming from a higher socioeconomic status, but the disease you are suffering from, the disease of addiction, is the same as the other person. And so the treatment that you will go through is the same. And this sometimes startles them, but over time, as they reflect, when they start the cure, the journey of recovery, they start to realize that their high class drink was causing them the same problem like the low class drink was causing that poor person. And this then becomes the revelation that they need to go out and be better persons. I wanted to discuss this briefly with you so that as you go out enjoying yourself with your wallet full of money and having a good time, do not be oblivious of the effects of overindulgence, of drugs of addiction and alcohol, just because you think your high socioeconomic status will cushion you and protect you from the effects, because it will not do that. And so do not partake, or if you partake, please remember to be within the levels of use which are safe and which we have discussed in other videos, so that you become a responsible user of alcohol and drugs of addiction. Thank you very much for listening to me. And as usual, remember to subscribe to Dr. BMS channel for more informative videos about your life, your health, your body, your mind, your soul. Thank you and see you next time.